What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday night. We're back here on Let's Talk Live on the LTL Media channel. I'm going to do a little bit of a spotlight tonight, but I want to welcome everybody in. We're going to talk Alan Jackson and get to a little bit of a controversy that happened over the last 24 hours. A lot of people are very angry about the, and I always forget the name too. Let me get this company name again. The Popcorn Drive for Karen Reed. I got to get the damn company down. The name just slipped my head again. Double Good. The Double Good Popcorn Drive. Lots of controversy about it. I've been basically involved in fighting back at the company, and I'll give you an update on that. And we're also going to get through some career highlights in attorney Alan Jackson's career today on the show. So I thought that would be fun to go through. Listen, I'm already going to tell you right now, we're going to get into a very controversial character, Kevin Spacey, on the channel today. And I know that people will have their say about him. I have my own thoughts and opinion, but I want you guys just to do this for the show. Just do this for me. Put your opinions aside about Kevin Spacey. What I'm trying to do here is focus on the body of work of Alan Jackson. That's what I want to focus on here this evening. So if I can get that from the chat, we're going to have a great show. Okay. So the Popcorn Drive and this said company that we used, or I didn't use it, Nick Rocco, Paul Cristoforo, and Kelly Reed had all put together a popcorn drive over this last week to raise money for Karen Reed's defense fund. And the ending total, and I remember the night because we were doing it, it was well over $50,000. I think I contributed like the last $300 to get Karen up to that $50,000, and we had like a celebration on the channel. Come to find out, there were some trolls that actually reached out to the company and essentially said, "Hey, do you know what you're doing here? They're trying to raise money for X, Y, and Z." And the company essentially said, "Well, we're not going to affiliate ourselves with with Karen Reed anymore, and essentially we're going to shut down their campaign." So I decided to cancel my orders, and I initially reached out to customer service. I got someone back, said they will forward my message to the appropriate department. I had another customer service rep reach out to me and said they were looking into it. I got another email, and essentially they said, "Oh, well, no, we can't cancel your order. It's already shipped, and per our 24-hour window policy of cancellation, you've already passed that." Now, here's the funny thing about it. The funny thing about it is last night, before I started this whole process of canceling and trying to get my money back, I traced the order. And they were still pending. They were waiting to be shipped. And I find it funny, and I find it kind of ironic now that after I say that I want to cut off ties and I want my money back, all of a sudden my orders have shipped. So what I'm going to do is this. I wrote them back and essentially said, if you do not fix the situation, if you don't correct it and return this popcorn and return my money, all I'm going to basically do is when the popcorn comes to me, I'm going to turn it right around and send it back to you. And then I will create a chargeback with my credit card company. So we can just battle it out that way. Anyway, so I would just encourage you this. If you are going to take the road that I am taking in this process, I encourage everybody just to stop payment, tell them you're going to stop payment, and then take that money that you were going to donate to Karen and just donate it directly to her defense fund. She needs this money more than ever right now. So if you can help out that way, cancel your order and just make sure that you donate and help. And I do know that Paul and Nick and Kelly will be working on some other things here. I actually reached out to Paul Cristoforo today and I said, "Hey, is there anything that I can do to help out?" I'll start kind of brainstorming some things and maybe shoot some ideas to you. And you know, we were thinking about, well, could we rent out like a bowling alley and charge, you know, a ticket at the door, and we'll just give the ticket money to Karen. Maybe we can pack in 200-300 people, 20, 30, you know, $30 a head, you know, just thinking of stuff like that. And he's trying to come up with some creative solutions as well too. So yeah. So no longer going forward, I don't want Double Good Popcorn anymore. I don't want anything to do with their organization. I don't want to do anything with their fundraising abilities and their online entities. I'm done. I urge all of my subscribers to be done as well. Don't participate in any of their programs. Clearly, they don't want to. Clearly, they don't want to help us here, so I don't want to help out their company. And the funny thing about it is they would have made a lot of money on the return end of this, but obviously they don't want to help. So done with that. Anyway, let's move on to my presentation today. I'm going to bring it up here on the big screen, and we'll talk some career highlights of attorney Alan Jackson. So obviously I dubbed him Action Jackson. That's been kind of thrown around and tossed around, and we'll talk a little bit about some of his career. And I have some articles here, some clippings. We'll go through that and a lot of videos to accompany it as well. So let's get into the first case that I wanted to highlight here, Mickey Thompson. And if anybody doesn't know who Mickey Thompson is, if you're not a car enthusiast, you probably have never heard the name. But Mickey Thompson was someone that was in the car racing industry, actually ended up designing his own tires. And he was like the first person, I think, on the Utah salt flats to actually break over 400 miles an hour land speed record. So pretty crazy and awesome accomplishments, and have done so much in the auto industry to revolutionize essentially racing tires. I mean, pretty much all those top fuel dragsters that you see are probably running Mickey Thompson. So probably one of the best made tires in the industry, and has, you know, obviously I don't want to sound cheesy here, but has lasted the test of time. So this is, if you want to know, Mickey Thompson and his wife, Trudy Thompson, were shot in their driveway in Bradbury, California, at their home in March 16th, 1988, which is crazy. I was born in 78. My birthday is on March 17th. So this is just one day short of my 10th birthday. So it says an investigation into Mickey Thompson and Trudy's murders went cold until more than a decade after their deaths. And Mickey Thompson's former business partner, Michael Goodwin, was arrested in 2001 and charged with orchestrating the killings. Let's take a look at this video of Alan Jackson as a prosecutor at this time, giving his closing argument in the Mickey Thompson murders. Let's pull this up here. The video is not great, but we'll get through it. And I don't know why this is freezing.
This is the opportunity, as Judge Schwartz just said, for the prosecution and the defense to present to you what we believe the evidence is going to show. Which evidence we believe is going to prove that Michael Goodwin is guilty of the crimes for which he is charged.
I knew it was Goodwin.
The murder of Mickey Thompson,
Godwin.
The murder of Trudy Thompson. And that evidence is going to begin by taking us on a journey.
So
we're going to go backward close to 50 years. It was September 9th, 1960. A brash, young, good-looking auto mechanic turned race car driver stood on an empty desert, a dry lake bed, if you will, known as the Bonneville Salt Flats.
Yep.
He knelt down with his helmet in his hand and he posed for this photograph. A photograph with his car right behind him. A car that he built with his own two hands. A car that he built in a two-car garage, folks. As a matter of fact, not too far from here, right up the road in El Monte. A car that he tuned to such perfection that it turned 2,800 horsepower.
Whew.
That's not a mistake. 2,800 horsepower in that vehicle. Yep. That same young man, just a few minutes after that picture was taken, strapped himself into that behemoth vehicle and looking a little bit more like an astronaut than a race car driver. Marion Lee Thompson, known to his friends and family.
Still that same style.
Stepped on the gas and stepped into the history books. On September 9th, 1960, Mickey Thompson shattered the 400-mile-an-hour speed barrier and rocketed to a top speed of 406.6 miles per hour. That young man, Mickey Thompson, on September 9th, 1960, became a legend. Some 27 years later, that same legend, on March 16th, 1988, became a victim. At 6:05 in the morning, Mickey Thompson left his house, a quiet, gated community in Bradbury, walked outside the garage with the love of his life, Trudy Thompson, his wife. When they stepped onto the driveway, they were confronted by two professional gunmen carrying 9mm semi-automatic auto-load pistols. One gunman addressed Mickey Thompson, the other gunman addressed Trudy Thompson. And within minutes, the quiet community of Bradbury was shattered by gunfire as each gunman fired upon Mickey and Trudy variously, hitting both victims multiple times. But of notable connection to this particular murder was how Mickey Thompson died that day. The evidence will prove in this case that Trudy Thompson was actually killed first. The last vision that Mickey had before he died was of a bullet going through the back of Trudy's head. And with that vision, the first gunman screwed that 9mm pistol into his left ear and fired a shot through Mickey's brain. Oof. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence in this case will show that although Mickey and Trudy Thompson died, were murdered, were assassinated on March 16th, 1988, their demise actually began some 4 years earlier, when Mickey and Trudy Thompson met and went into business with Michael Frank Goodwin, the defendant in this case. It's that the day Mickey Thompson was supposed to sign the contract, Mike Goodwin had bad intentions. He was overheard by his own driver talking to another employee about how he was going to rip off Mickey Thompson. Mike Goodwin had the intent to screw Mickey Thompson out of his name, out of his business, and certainly out of all of his money. Michael Goodwin had bad intentions from the first moment. But his big mistake was that he horribly underestimated Mickey Thompson.
I agree.
At the beginning of jury selection, many of you folks walked in here and said to yourselves, "Oh God, I got that jury subpoena. Why me? I don't want to be here. I got better things to do. Why should I care? Why should I care about something that happened
This video is
18
old.
years ago? Why should I care? I got family to be with. I've got work. I've got kids. I have school, golf, my music. I've got things. I've got life to live. Why should I care?" Well, I'll tell you why you should care. We live in a community that's founded on the rule of law. Very simply, we enjoy that rule of law daily. And under that rule of law, folks, you people, you folks are empowered with the ultimate responsibility. It doesn't get any bigger. It doesn't get any broader.
You know, that's one thing that's really great about Jackson, and Lady Law's pointing this out. I see his body language and I love it. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing about Jackson. Super animated, super animated, but that's a way to connect with the people in the courtroom. If you look at Lally, you think Lally connected with anybody in that fucking courtroom? Well, apparently he connected with some of those jurors, but do you think that he connected really with anybody? And then you have David Yannetti get up, you have Alan Jackson get up, very personable, very animated, uses their body language to shape the courtroom. It's very impressive. It's a mighty skill way of storytelling. It makes you feel like you're there. Someone said that early in the chat. Every time he tells a story, talks about a case, I feel like I'm there. All right, let's play this out.
You have the responsibility to protect those who cannot protect themselves, to seek justice for those who cannot seek justice for themselves. That's your duty, like it or not. On March 16th, 1988, at 6 o'clock in the morning, Trudy Thompson couldn't protect herself. Mickey Thompson couldn't protect Trudy or himself. It's up to you. They deserve your
You're
justice.
right, JC. Absolutely.
Michael Goodwin is guilty of the crime of murder. He's responsible for Mickey Thompson and Trudy Thompson's death. It's up to you to seek justice for their memory. Find him guilty. Thank you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, let's move on. We'll keep the show moving on. Let me bring my screen back up here. And we're going to talk about Alan Jackson is a prosecutor prosecuting the Phil Spector case. I got about a 3-minute video. If anybody doesn't know who Phil Spector is, I'll read a little bit about this. On February 3rd, 2003, Phil Spector shot actress Lena Clarkson in the mouth while in his mansion in California. Her body was found slumped in a chair with a single gunshot wound to her mouth. Spector told Esquire in July of 2023 that Clarkson's death was an accidental suicide and that she kissed the gun. The emergency call from Spector's home made Spector's driver, Armando Souza, quote Spector as saying, "I think I killed somebody." D'Souza added that he and Spector came out of the back door of the house with a gun in his hand. Spector remained free on $1 million bail while he awaited trial. In the meantime, Spector produced singer-songwriter Hargo, Kashla's track, known professionally as Hargo, Crying for John Lennon, which appeared in a movie, goes on to visit Spector's mansion for an interview for the Lennon Tribute, Strawberry Fields. Let's see. On March 19, 2007, Spector murder trial began. Presiding Judge Larry Paul Fidler allowed the proceedings in Los Angeles Superior Court to be televised. On September 26, Fidler declared a mistrial because of a hung jury, and it was a 10-2 for conviction. The retrial of Spector for the murder in the second degree began on October 20th, 2028, with the same judge presiding. The retrial was not televised. Spector was once again represented by attorney Jennifer Lee Barringer. The case went to the jury on March 26, 2009, and 18 days later, on April 13th, the jury returned a verdict. 18 days later. 18 days later. Wow. Additionally, Spector was found guilty on using a firearm in the commission of a crime, which added 4 years to the sentence. 4 years. He immediately taken into custody on May 29, 2009, was sentenced 19 years to life in the California state prison system. All right, let's look at some video here of Alan Jackson in the case of Phil Spector. If I can find it. Here we go. And this one is Spector murder goes to the jury. Here we go. The sound is pretty awful throughout the first 15 seconds, but it will kick in.
Philip Spector couldn't have been holding the gun. Every single one of them. Can't hold him accountable.
Oh, look at that. Didn't know that.
It's funny how those... There's a pattern that emerges in Philip Spector's history, and it's a pattern that's indelibly etched into his history.
We get to see Jackson's body language a little bit more.
When there's a woman, alcohol, a loss of control, Philip Spector pulls a gun. And in those other incidents, you can almost think about it mentally like they got away with their lives, almost like the gun just didn't go off, like a click, an empty chamber.
Yeah, he was.
Same kind of relationship. Stephanie Jennings in that hotel room, a woman, alcohol, a loss of control, and Philip Spector reaches for a gun. Click. February 3rd, 2003. Lana Clarkson. A woman, alcohol, a loss of control, and Philip Spector reaches for a gun. Pow. She got the bullet. Lana Clarkson got the bullet. It's as simple as that.
Wow. Powerful stuff.
And folks, right then, right at that moment, you see the driver walk over to the Mercedes and open the back door. And you watch from your vantage point. And you listen. And as Lana Clarkson speaks, you hear a tiny crack in her voice. You can hear that she's about to relent. And she accepts his offer. She's standing there with the driver holding the door open. She's just accepted his offer. Now let me ask you a question.
Kind of hard to hear. Sorry.
If at that moment, right there, standing in that parking lot, you could say one thing to Lana Clarkson. Just one thing. You only get one shot, and you can only say one thing to Lana Clarkson. At that moment, what would it be? Doesn't matter. There's no pattern here. It's not just women, it's women and men. Now come to closing argument, come full circle. Look how the sands have shifted. You know that she was standing there with the real Phil Spector.
Yeah, the wig was crazy.
In Diane Ogden's words, the demon behind the music. Philip Spector is guilty of Lana Clarkson's murder. She's
The wig
entitled
was
to
so bad.
justice. She's entitled to it.
Sorry, but we do need to report.
He looks like an 80s rocker. That's it. Phil Spector. All right. Moving along. Alan Jackson is a defense attorney and the ever so controversial Kevin Spacey. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So Kevin Spacey in 2017. Spacey faced several allegations of sexual misconduct. In the wake of these claims, Netflix cut ties with Spacey's, shelving a biopic and removing him from the last season of House of Cards. He completed his role, and let's see, and it looks like they reshot it with Christopher Plummer. Spacey has denied the accusation and was found not liable in 2022 lawsuit in New York. In a separate case in London, he was acquitted by a jury of sexual assault charges in 2023. Now, here's some parallel to this. This is very interesting, and it's very interesting that this happened in Massachusetts. And you'll see this. It says deleted text messages. Gee, where have we heard that before? In what case that Alan Jackson is currently an attorney in? Karen Reed's case, deleted text messages. And ultimately, I believe, if I'm right, that and you're going to hear this, Alan Jackson arguing that the prosecution hid evidence, didn't turn over evidence. I mean, the parallel on this is pretty amazing to Karen Reed's case, because it's pretty much the same thing. The prosecution has held back evidence in this case, and we heard that through the pretrial hearings. There was things that weren't allowed to be brought into Karen Reed's case that was complete fact and truth that was kept out by the judge. It's so interesting, and look where it happened. It happened in Massachusetts. So let's do this. Let's pull up some of the videos and articles that I have here, and we'll go through this. So this was from Boston.com. Kevin Spacey shows up for a hearing in groping case. Spacey is pled not guilty to the charge of indecent assault and battery. And you can see a photo there of Alan Jackson. You have Liz Little right next to him, and Kevin Spacey. So let's go to that video and hear Alan Jackson in court arguing for his client. Here we go.
The best I can do. But it's absolutely not true. Mr. Glennie knows it. Mr. Giordino absolutely knows it. It was not a miscommunication. We were clear as a bell. We don't suffer from inarticulation.
Lady Law, thank you
Mr.
so much.
Giordino exactly what we wanted. We wanted information on the phone. We wanted everything that they had about the phone, and we wanted the phone itself. And his comment to us, it is not in our care,
Jackson with the
custody,
beard,
and
by the way.
control. There's no other way to parse that. And I don't make these points lightly. It is not fun for me. This is not enjoyment for me. I don't like having to discuss an active misrepresentation
Yes, it is.
by the people, by the
sure
Commonwealth on behalf of the government. I think it's outrageous. I think it's unjustified, and it's not fun. But it's also inherently not fair to us. And so Mr. Glenny's comments, he's doing the best he can to call it a miscommunication. There was no miscommunication. This was an active misrepresentation, and it should never, ever be tolerated, ever, especially on behalf of the government.
But what your motion boils down to at this point is that the Trudeau issue is off the table. What you're looking for is the phone.
Correct.
That's what this all boils down to, is you want the phone.
And at this point, given what we now know, and by the way, Mr. Glenny also says, well, they've got what they wanted. They've got this forensic extraction. They've got what they wanted. That's not true. Number one, we already know, and Mr. Glenny already knows, and he should be concerned that his extraction report is inaccurate. It is not an accurate representation of what's
Where have we heard about extraction reports in Massachusetts not being accurate before? Where have we heard that before, folks? Let me know in the chat. Where have we heard that before? Where have we heard about deleted text messages before? In what case have we heard about that? A case in that Alan Jackson and in Massachusetts. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Gee, I mean, Massachusetts, the way Massachusetts does things to try people is just insane. All right, let's keep playing this.
on that phone. How do we know that? Because of the group texts. There were
Absolutely.
group texts that
Karen
they
Reed
have in their
trial.
file that don't exist in the extraction report. He knows
Look at
that. I know that. So now we can
same
all
thing
agree.
with
Let's
Jennifer
stop dancing
McCabe's phone.
around. We can all agree the extraction report is inaccurate. It has been manipulated. It has been, there have been deletions on it. All right, not by the government. That's not an accusation that we're
Not a
making.
problem.
But certainly by Heather Unruh or Will Little or both. So we need two things, Your
Yes,
Honor. I
same
want the
instructional playbook.
actual forensic download, which is not the extraction report from the download, but the actual forensic download. Colloquially, it's called a mirror image. I want the mirror image that Mr. Glenny and Mr. Giordino have currently in their possession. They do.
Funny, didn't he kind of fight for this stuff in Karen Reed's case too? It's insane. And this is you can't write this story. This is in Massachusetts. This is in Massachusetts.
Have that. Either them or at their crime lab, they've got it. Number two, the second thing I want
It sure is.
is the
That is
actual
Liz
phone.
Little. Yep.
I'm entitled to go to the source data to find out what was or was not deleted. And that's what we're seeking. Those two things as it relates to the phone. The third thing.
So the argument is that the said, and it's probably not a word, the accuser's mother deleted information off the accuser's phone. And before, I think she handed it over to the prosecution, or just handed it to the I know what she did. She handed it to the prosecution. They did the extraction and then gave it back. And then she deleted information off it. Well, when the accuser took the stand, they pled the fifth. And essentially, Alan Jackson got the mother on the stand and read that mother the riot act. So let's play here. Let's keep playing on. This is very interesting.
I want the same information as it pertains to Heather Unruh's phone. Now, I don't have a good faith belief that they've ever done an extraction of Heather Unruh's phone, so I don't think that exists or that they have it. So I would ask for her phone, for my expert to be able to do that forensic download or mirror image, so that we can then pull an accurate extraction report from that phone as well. That's what we're asking for. That's what we're entitled to.
Respect to that request, as Glenny indicated, I denied that request initially, and I know you want me to reconsider it.
I understand.
I'll take another look at it. If I
Okay.
decide that there's enough to pursue it, it would have to be a further hearing. They would have a chance to come in and argue
That's fine.
against it. So
That's fine. We accept that.
I understand. Okay, just so we're clear about
Yeah, I'm not trying to sort of overstep process. I get that there's a process.
it. Yeah, I'm all right. Fine. Thank you.
The last thing that I'll suggest to the court is as to the issue of timing. I brought this up at the last
Gee, the judge seems a little bit more reasonable here, right? Not pushing back as much and letting Jackson actually talk.
hearing. I'd like to address it again.
Sure.
Mr. Spacey is entitled to his speedy trial. Period and amen. What he is suffering every day that this goes on,
Yeah.
every single day. There are cameras in the courtroom today. There are reporters populating the courthouse. Every day that this goes on without resolution is a day that he suffers. That's a day that he's not getting justice. That's a day that he's not getting his due process. The shenanigans that have been going on the government side are outrageous. They're unjustified. They're inexcusable. And we shouldn't have to suffer the ills of having to come back over and over.
This is the Karen Reed, Alan Jackson. This is what we've seen. This is, it's funny, as he's kind of, gained more experience through his career. He was a little bit more soft-spoken in the prosecutor role, and this is just my opinion, more, just a little bit more direct. But now in this defense role, he's more animated. He fights, a little bit harder. He's fighting for his client. He's using his body language a lot more. I love it. The voice goes up. It's good stuff. Let's rewind this a little bit and go back. Let's
not getting justice. That's a day that he's not getting his due process. The shenanigans that have been going on the government side are outrageous. They're unjustified. They're inexcusable. And we shouldn't have to suffer the ills of having to come back over and over and over. And every time we come back, we get something new and revelatory. There's a new revelation every single time we come back to this courthouse. That is not fair. That's not how the government should be conducting its investigation. That's not how it should be preparing for trial. If they weren't ready to go to trial on the day they filed this case, they shouldn't have filed it. And I submit they absolutely shouldn't have. This is a ridiculous case, and they shouldn't have filed it to begin with. But they did it. They unlocked that barn door, and now the horse is out. And they've got to go to trial. We're entitled to that. More importantly, Mr. Spacey's entitled to that. One of the things that I found it'd be amusing if it weren't so sad. In response to the motion that we filed, Michael O'Keefe, the DA, the sitting DA for the Cape and Islands DA's office, was confronted by a reporter who said, "What do you think about these accusations concerning and the allegations concerning your office and misrepresentations that your office had made?" His response was, if Mr. Spacey was not who he is, no one would care about this case. I know I learned a term in law school, gobsmacked. I was taken aback by that statement. That was ridiculous. For the sitting district attorney of this county to say, if he wasn't who he said, if he wasn't who he is, nobody would care about this case. What is he saying? What's the translation? If it wasn't Mr. Spacey, he never would have filed the case? Is that the translation? Or is the translation, if it weren't Mr. Spacey, nobody would know about these misrepresentations. Nobody would know about holding back evidence because nobody would litigate this to the extent that we are. If they're not ready to go to trial, they shouldn't have filed the case. And if they think nobody cares about this case, my response would be to the Commonwealth, I'll tell you who cares about this case. We care about this case. Mr. Fowler, Mr. Spacey cares about this case. The people of Nantucket, they care about this case. If they don't care about it, so be it. God bless them. But we do, and we want a trial. And we're ready to go to trial. If this court were to grant us an expeditious discovery order today or in the coming week, I promise you, Judge, we will act expeditiously, equally expeditiously, to get ready. No matter what that information is that comes to us, we just need the time to download it, analyze it, and then we're ready for trial. And we don't want to wait till October or November. We think we're entitled to a trial within 8 weeks or so.
Won't happen.
Why won't it happen, Judge?
The way things work here, and I appreciate that you're unfamiliar with them, is we have jury trials here every other month. That's why I'm here this week. We'll have jury trials this week. The next trial session will be in August. There is a trial assignment date that occurs before that. And at that point, I set up the trials for that particular week.
Okay.
So again, this week, August, October, December.
Ooh,
This case, I would expect is not going to be able to be tried in one of the normally assigned jury weeks, I'm going to have to find separate space on the calendar to accommodate this case, because as you indicated that,
I'll relax this, judges.
Sorry, Judge.
it's all right, you indicated that you thought it was going to carry on for 2 weeks. Maybe it will be because of the celebrity that attaches to it and the difficulties in selecting a jury. Maybe, I don't know. But the actual trial of these cases, similar such cases will take, maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days. It's not that complicated.
I just want to kind of piggyback off this. I think it's insane. I think and Rogue says it's amazing that Mass doesn't have to abide by the U.S. Constitution. The thing that is insane about it, and I've talked about this all the time on this channel, 251 years ago, some wise old guys fought back against tyranny. And I know you've heard me say this 1,000 times over, but that's the Boston Tea Party. Essentially started the Revolutionary War. It started the Revolutionary War. We fought back against corruption here. We fought back against British rule. And we've become one of the most corrupt states in the United States when it comes to the law. It's insane. How did that freaking happen? All right, let's keep playing through this.
At least from the court's perspective at this point.
I agree.
But in any event, I need to find, there are several other courts that use this space, the probate court, the Superior Court, the juvenile court, et cetera. So I need to be able to carve out that piece of time, and we're going to need to bring in more jurors than is normal. If you're lucky, and I'm not being flip, if we're lucky, because I want to get the case tried too. I appreciate that it's a burden on him, but then again, every other defendant, and
I don't have Netflix, so I just haven't watched it. Sorry. I know a lot of people are talking about it. I don't have. I canceled my Netflix subscription when the Cuties controversy came out. That program where they had like extremely underage girls and very provocative outfits, and I just nope. I'm not going to support Netflix, and they I continue to run it. They continue to run it for like a long time. I don't know if it's been pulled since then. I don't really care. But I boycotted them after that whole disgusting movie or series, whatever the hell it was that they put out. So, all right, let's keep playing through.
If you get in the queue, there are many ahead of you. It's likewise a burden to them, and some are in custody to have their case tried. So, I'm disinclined to let Mr. Fowler step in front of those people, except that there are considerations that need to be addressed in terms of a separate week.
And that's what I would ask, if the court could accommodate us in August, even late August.
No, it can't. And first of all, to try this case, it's difficult enough to get accommodations on this island anytime in June, July, and August. It would be impossible. Not next to impossible. It would be impossible to get this case tried.
I'll stay in a tent.
Well, I'm glad to know that. But,
I get accommodations or
oh, Jackson's great. Well, let's hear that again. I didn't see that coming at all. Damn, that was good. I'll stay in a tent. I love it. Let's hear it again.
Would be impossible. Not next to impossible. It would be impossible to get this case tried.
I'll stay in a tent.
Well, I'm glad to know that. But,
I get accommodations or lax, but we'll make do, Judge.
I appreciate it. But we have the issue of the jurors. As I say, we need to be able to summons them. That requires at least 90 days, et cetera. So it's just not an easy thing to accommodate. And as I say, Mr. Fowler, as much as I'd like to get his case tried for a variety of reasons, among them so that we can all move on to the next case, whatever. He's still one of the individuals who is in the queue, and I'll do the best I can, as I'm sure the Commonwealth will, to move this case along. It's not happening in August. Whether it can happen in October, November, remains to be seen. But that's what you're looking at. Go ahead.
May I
Sir.
have just a moment?
Sure.
Yeah, you're right, Lisa. That's right. Aircraft, Air Force, right?
Co-counsel
aircraft
reminds me that,
mechanic.
and I just want to bring this to the court's attention. I don't want to, the horse is, if it's not dead, it's on its last leg, and I don't want to beat it. But the court did indicate at our last, and this is new procedure to me. The court indicated at our last hearing that there's a possibility that the court
I
might
agree.
have, which is to set aside a special panel that's sort of outside the bracketed timeframes that the court might accommodate. If the court can at least consider that.
But even if, and I am going to do that because
Okay.
I'm not going to interrupt, do the best I can not to interrupt, the flow of cases
Right.
on this island. So I'm going to
I
have
think
to
he was,
pick
yeah.
a separate
Jaguar.
space
Okay.
of time. But that still requires that we bring in jurors. That can't happen overnight. So again, consider the horse dead with respect to a trial in August. So,
I was hoping you weren't going to say that.
sorry.
All right, Judge.
all right.
I appreciate you at least listening.
Sure.
Thank you. Submitted.
All right. Anything else, folks, from anybody, Mr. Glenn?
No.
Yes, and I feel I need to address a couple of things. One is really kind of a housekeeping matter, and I'm sure this wasn't intentional, but there was a mention made of the Officer Kelly, and he was referred to as a state police trooper. Now, he's not. He's
He's
a
not.
Nantucket police officer.
That's my mistake.
Right.
Thank you.
And then, I would suggest that the Commonwealth, as I
I thought he
stated
just
in
said
the
Tully,
opposition,
but he said-
categorically.
What did he say, Tully?
That's my mistake.
Right.
Thank you.
It wasn't intentional, but there was a mention made of the Officer Kelly.
Oh,
and he was
Kelly. I
referred
thought
to
he
as a
said
state
Tully.
police
Oh,
trooper. Now,
Jesus.
he's not. He's
He's
a
not.
Nantucket police officer.
That's my mistake.
Right.
Thank you.
And then, I would suggest that the Commonwealth, as I stated in the opposition, categorically denies that there was any affirmative conscious misrepresentation at any time made by ADA Giardino.
Understand.
And then secondly, Your Honor, there was a suggestion concerning about a media quote by Mr. O'Keefe. Now, I've had an opportunity to speak to him actually
O'Keefe.
about that. and
Oh
he was
my
talk-
gosh. I mean, just this is insane. Oh my God. I mean, they preemptively thinking something here that, oh, jeez. That's crazy. Yes, Lisa, thank you for your service.
Talking about the media, that the media wouldn't care if this was anybody else besides Mr. Spacey. Not that the people or the parties wouldn't care, but the media. And I think the court has seen that this is not the typical case in terms of the media interest. Not that there's anything wrong with the media being interested, but they are interested and they're here hanging on every word. And I addressed the media in my submission, Your Honor, and I would just ask that you, take a close look at that. Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate it. I did indicate in my ruling that we could perhaps have a further pretrial if we're going to have one via video conference, if that would be helpful, I'm sure to you, as long as we could orchestrate it. I would like.
Wow, a judge actually being accommodating. Wow.
Like an affidavit from your expert, if you
We'll
can
take
do
care of
that as quickly as possible, that would be helpful. Do you want to pick a further date at this point? If you want to pick a further date in July, via video conference, if there's some other date that works, what's your pleasure, folks?
May I have just a second to
Sure.
consult with counsel?
Was he Air Force or Navy? Now you got me all screwed up. Jackson Air Force or Navy? Right? Everybody's asking now. I might have screwed that up. I thought he was Air Force. And then I said JAG Corps, which would be Navy. Fix this for me. I'm confused. Air Force. All right. Air Force or Navy? All right. I thought I was right. JAG Corps is not Air Force, right? That's Navy, isn't it? Isn't JAG Corps? Isn't that Navy? I didn't think that was Air Force.
I'm just consulting my calendar, which is on my phone, Your
I
Honor. Thank
understand.
you.
and
Oh,
I'd like
military
to
lawyer. Thank you.
talk to the Commonwealth and see what
JAG
works
is
for
Navy.
them
I'm
as well.
screwed up here.
Again, Mondays and Wednesdays during the summer, we are here. So
Mondays and Wednesdays. Got it.
Oh, thank you. All right.
July 15th. Yeah, that works for me. Mike, July 15th. 1 week. Okay.
You got me all screwed up.
Okay. I think the 8th is Utah.
No, JAG is Navy because A Few Good Men. That's Navy. Have you ever seen the movie A Few Good Men? JAG is Navy. Ah, got it.
How does that look for you? I'm going to be out of town for that weekend. Are you going to be back on Sunday? Then you can come out. You can come straight here. Okay. We'll just figure out your. Your Honor, Monday the 8th seems to work with all of our calendars if it works with the court's calendar.
The 8th of July?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sure. Okay. Let's put it on for that date. And is it your desire to have via video conference, or do you want to actually?
If I could discuss that with my client.
Why don't you do that between now and then? Just let the court know sufficiently in advance so we can make sure that if it's going to be video conference, the connection works, et cetera.
Wow, an accommodating a judge in Massachusetts. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Are we all shocked and accommodating?
Yes, Your Honor, yes. So if the court will allow me that latitude, I'll discuss with my client and counsel if we'd like to do it by video conference or actually make it an appearance. You're going to be here either way, correct?
I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
One more thing, by the way, there was a response.
All right, we got
from
it.
the club
Air Force
car,
and JAG, we
which
got
I
it.
know, do you have it? It indicates
Yes,
there's
we're
no
good.
surveillance.
I've
so-
spoken to Mr. Wilson. He very kindly indicated that he's
Holy
filed a
smokes.
significant amount of paperwork
I have
suggesting
it.
that. I've got no issue with that, and we'll submit on that issue.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. All right, folks. Thank you very much for your appearance here today and your arguments. I'll take it under advisement and hopefully can, as I say, issue a ruling later on this week.
I got my first pair of glasses today. I went and did a big boy thing. I've been putting this off forever. I can't see anymore. So I took my prescription. I went over and I know we got it. We don't need to discuss Air Force and JAG anymore. We got it. We got it. I got a pair of glasses today. So those will be like a week or 2 weeks until they're made. And that'll be interesting. So I've never wore glasses before. So all right, we're just eyeing out schedules here. So let's hear a little bit more about the case here. See what happened. Defendant got on the stand and invoked the Fifth Amendment. I'm sorry, the accuser in Kevin Spacey's case. Let's play this out.
Unexpected testimony in the case against actor Kevin Spacey. His accuser admitting to waiting 15 months to report the alleged incident. Prosecutors had said it was only 3 months. That was just the beginning of the questions that unraveled today, including what happened to the accuser's phone. Here's Lindsay Davis.
The case against Kevin Spacey in jeopardy tonight. His accuser taking the stand today, but then invoking his Fifth Amendment right after questions about whether he had deleted text messages, leading the judge to strike his testimony from the record. Spacey's lawyer pounced.
He's the sole witness that can establish the circumstances of his allegation on the night in question. This case needs to be dismissed, and I believe it needs to be dismissed today.
The judge seemed to agree, saying he wasn't sure if the case would continue or collapse. The accuser's mother, a former Boston TV anchor, admitted today,
I deleted a few things.
but she says she did not delete any texts relevant to the night in question. Another issue, the accuser's phone is missing. The House of Cards star is accused of groping the then 18-year-old in Nantucket in 2016. The 59-year-old actor has pleaded not guilty to a charge of indecent assault and battery. Just last week, the accuser dropped a civil lawsuit against Spacey.
Here we go.
As for that missing phone, a state trooper testified today that he returned the phone to the family, but did not get a receipt. Now, both the accuser's father and mother testified that they don't.
I mean, come on. Does it surprise you, ladies and gentlemen, of everything that goes on with the mass state troopers? I mean, does it surprise you? They give the phone back, but don't give a receipt. And then we just talked about the other day, the wiretapping. There's going to be 9 or 10 new cases because of the illegal wiretapping. So these defendants are going to get a second trial. I mean, does anything surprise you with the Mass State Police anymore? I mean, come on, clean up your act. Clean up your act. All right, let's go on here. Let's hear that testimony from mommy in the Kevin Spacey trial. Alan Jackson plugging away.
At any point, did you ask your son, Will Little, to look at his phone before it was turned over to the police?
No, I looked at his phone before it was turned over to the police.
Probably a bad question on my part. That's exactly what I was asking. At any point before it was turned over to the police, did you look at his phone?
Yes.
Okay. Was that upon your inquiry, or did he say, Mom, look at my phone?
I was inquiring about evidence I didn't know existed.
And that what you put as evidence included text messages between him and a young lady that I'll refer to as MD. Do you know who that person is?
I do.
Okay, we're trying not to say her name.
Yeah.
If we can help it. And then a group chat among your son and a group of other young men.
Thank you.
Yes.
You saw both of those sets of conversations.
Not on his phone.
When did you see, or where did you see those?
He screen grabbed from his computer and texted it to me. And I had never seen them before. They were a bit shocking.
And those text messages were those the same screenshots that were provided to the police, to the authorities?
Yes.
Did you tell him to provide those screenshots to the authorities?
I can't remember if I provided them or if he provided them. I honestly can't remember. But yes, essentially, yes, thought they were very important to the case.
At any point, did you discuss with your son a concern that you had about the content of some of those text messages?
No.
Did you ever tell him that you believed that certain of those text messages could be exculpatory?
No.
Did you ever instruct your son to delete certain of those text messages?
Certainly not.
Did you ever delete any of the text messages in the conversation between
No.
your son and MD?
No.
Did you ever delete any text messages between your son or among your son and the group that was
No.
being texted back and forth that night?
No.
You had a meeting with Trooper Donovan on November 29th, 2017, correct?
Yep.
And that meeting was for the sole purpose of you turning over his phone to Trooper Donovan.
Yes.
So in order to do that, the phone is basically like an electronic brick if you don't have a password, right?
Right.
You knew that.
There you
Trooper
go.
Donovan knew
Yep.
that.
Right.
So I object to what Trooper Donovan knew or didn't know.
Sustained.
So I'm sorry, Judge. So you knew his password, Will Little's password.
Well, I didn't know his password until he gave it to me.
Right.
And then I knew it. I'd never been on my son's phone looking for anything before.
At some point, you learned his password.
Excuse me.
Yes.
And that was before or after you turned the phone over to Trooper Donovan?
Before.
In fact, you were texting with your son on the same day that Trooper Donovan was going to come by and pick up the phone, correct?
I don't know. If you say I was, then I was. That's beyond my memory.
Well, let's look at a document real quick. This is
Thank you so much. $20 super chat. It says late to the live, but I made it catching replays lately, Brian. Such a nice guy. I wish you all well in what you're going through. Jackson was enlisted like my dad, which means he got his college education later and honorable. Thank you so much for the 20. I appreciate it. Keeps the lights on in the studio. Thank you. All right, let's keep playing here. We'll do this, and then I'm going to play my favorite Karen Reed, Alan Jackson testimony.
quick 3-page document that's 8.5 by 11 set of pages that are from the quote unquote Lantern forensic report. Thank you. I'd like to have this marked in its entirety as defense next in order. Ooh,
We marked it as for ID, didn't we?
For
It's the
ID.
same one?
right, then, well, I've not previously marked this, but I'd like to have this marked for ID.
It's a tiny courtroom, huh? Nice though. Good looking courtroom. Tiny. Yeah, I remember when she was on Channel 5. Was this a bench trial or a jury trial? Does anybody remember? Because I'm like, where's the jury fit in that room? They must be right off camera if they're there. Excuse me. Does look like a conference room.
Yes. Ms. Hunter, if you could take a glance at that 3-page document, I know that's not something that you're familiar
Jury?
with. If you could tell me,
They must
after you
just
had a
be
chance
off
to look
camera.
through it, if you recognize some of the contents of that page or those pages.
Yeah.
Did you and your son discuss before Trooper Donovan arrived at the house the fact that you were going to turn that phone over to law enforcement?
Oh, I'm quite certain. Yes.
In point of fact, Ms. Unruh, 40 minutes before Trooper Donovan's scheduled arrival at your house, which was 3 p.m. The scheduled arrival was 3 p.m.
He wasn't convicted in London.
To be
He was acquitted.
either deleted or manipulated on that phone.
Jury trial, acquitted.
I don't see that anywhere in here.
Take a look, if you will, at the second text message down that indicates from mom at a 508 number. I'm not going to mention the rest of the number for privacy
Okay.
purposes. Is that your phone number?
It is.
Okay. That text message says to your son, quote, take a pic. I think your pictures are still
He was
ending up on
acquitted.
your
I
old
talked
phone,
about it.
Not messages, but pics. That's what that says, correct?
I don't understand what that means.
Well, you wrote it, Miss Unruh.
Well, I wrote it how many years ago?
Oh my God, I'm having Jen McCabe flash forwards because this wouldn't be a flashback. I'm having Jen McCabe flashbacks. Well, you wrote it. Oh, let's go back and listen to that again. Wow. What is the chances, man? What is the chances? Oh my God. Here we go.
That text message says to your son, quote, take a pic. I think your pictures are still ending up on your old phone, not messages, but pics. That's what that says, correct?
I don't understand what that means.
Well, you wrote it, Miss Unruh.
Well, I wrote it how many years ago? Take a pic. I think your pictures are still ending up on your old phone, not messages, but pics. I think
Trying to wiggle her way out right now.
that what this probably was me telling.
She's doing the Jen McCabe right now. Can you show me? She's doing the Jen McCabe right now. She's trying to wiggle her way out of this. This is, I mean, you can't. I mean, come on, people. You can't. You know what I mean? Like, what is? I mean, this is so parallel to what we've been talking about in Karen Reed's case. This is insane. This is this right now is a Jen McCabe moment in this case before the Karen Reed case. You couldn't even have planned this. I love it too, how she's trying to explain it with the document in front of her. Yeah, the 227 vibes, right? I mean, come on, people. This is crazy. All right, let's back up a little bit. I want to see Heather try to explain this. Let's go back. I love this. This is great.
Phone, not messages, but pics. That's what that says, correct?
I don't understand what that means.
Well, you wrote it, Miss Unruh.
Well, I wrote it how many years ago? Take a pic. I think your pictures are still ending up on your old phone, not messages, but pics. I think
Come on, Jen, explain it.
that what this probably was
We're just gonna read it back now.
was me telling Will that there weren't any messages on there, that there were pictures but no messages. But I'm guessing this was a long time ago, and that's not descriptive enough for me.
Miss Unruh, the fact of the matter is that text message to your son is an indication that you and your son were discussing what was and wasn't on his old phone.
Yeah.
Oh, we were discussing that.
And you were concerned about what was and was not going to be on the old phone that you turned over to Trooper Donovan, correct?
How do you get that from this?
I'm asking you, ma'am.
Go, Jen
I don't know where
McCabe.
you're going with it. I don't understand where you're going with it.
You were discussing 40 minutes before you were to turn that phone over.
Yeah.
Had a discussion about which photos
This
and
is
which
great.
pictures and which messages were going to end up on the old phone. And you were concerned about that, and you sent that text message to your son in concern about what was and was not going to end up being on that phone.
This to me is more like, and I'm trying to interpret something that happened years ago, but this to me says more like, I am not a technology wizard. And for some reason, if he's sending me messages or something on that phone, I'm not getting them. So I'm saying, take a picture and send a picture. That's how I'm interpreting it. But
That is Jen McCabe 2.0 right there. That is Jen McCabe 2.0. I mean, when you know someone's lying, I mean, come on. That is Jen McCabe 2.0. This is great. I mean, you couldn't, you can't plan this shit. It's so good. It's so good. All right. Let's go to the obvious here. Let me pull my present. I want more. I want to hear more of this. I wish we could hear more of it, but that's the only clip I could find. All right. Let's go to the obvious. The Karen Reed case. And of course, we're going to end it with my favorite cross-examination of one Jennifer McCabe, Alan Jackson, pounding away and just sticking it to Jen McCabe. All right, here we go. Let's play this out. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I love it, love it, love it. Let's go.
Celebrite data shows that you were
Oh, am I not sharing my screen? Sorry about that. Oh, oh, oh. Here we go. Can we see the screen now? Perfect. All right, here we go. Jen McCabe.
is correct.
Yes.
That would be generally accurate as well, correct?
Yes.
So
Huh.
after you opened up Safari, you indicated that you Google searched something about ozone basketball. Is that right?
Yes.
That was sometime after 2 a.m., right?
Yes.
What was so important about ozone basketball at 2 a.m. that it couldn't wait until the morning? Why did you search it then?
Well, first I was home, I was wide awake, and I had been texting about a basketball chat, and basketball was clearly on my mind. My daughter had been invited to join a team. I didn't know much about the team, so I just was like Googling to see, because the woman who had given my daughter the offer had wanted an answer.
So you say that basketball was on your mind, correct?
Yes.
At 2 o'clock in the
Was there
morning.
anything else on your mind in that early morning hour time frame?
Don't believe so.
Ms. McCabe, if you wanted to know in general how long it takes for a human being to pass away because of exposure to extreme temperatures, right? If you wanted to know the answer to that, what would you Google search? What phrase would you use?
I'm not sure. All I
Play dumb
recall is
here.
what the defendant asked me to Google in the morning.
If you wanted to know, I'm
Yeah.
asking a different question.
Mhm.
If you personally wanted to know, how long does it take for a person to die of exposure due to extreme temperatures, what would you put in? What phrase would you use?
Objection.
Sustained.
Well, we
Yeah.
don't have to guess at the phrase that you would use if you wanted to know something about dying of hypothermia, do we? Did you actually Google
Doesn't
search?
blink.
Objection.
Sustained. Ask that differently, please.
Did you, in fact, use a phrase to Google search how long it takes for someone to die of extreme temperatures?
I did in the morning at the request of your client.
Okay. And what
Nice
phrase
big
did you
answer.
use?
I'm not sure.
Judith, thank you so much for the 20 on Venmo. I appreciate that. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thank you.
Really?
Correct. I was
2.5 years of this, you don't know the phrase that you used?
Objection, Your Honor.
There's so many lies and misconceptions
question.
on social media.
Question.
Oh, I apologize.
Okay.
Are you telling me you don't remember what Google search you put in?
Karen was screaming. My hands were shaking, and she was saying, Google hypothermia, how long does it take to die in the cold?
And what phrase did you put in your phone? I'm just asking you to say it.
Why don't you show me it?
You literally don't remember?
Again, she was screaming, Google hypothermia, how long does it take to die in the cold?
How about?
And I picked up my phone and I started Googling.
And you literally, to this day, right now, under oath, you're saying you don't remember that phrase that you used.
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that at her
Do you remember it or do you not, Ms. McCabe? That's a simple question.
that morning, I don't remember specifically what I Googled, but I do know what you've put out to the social media.
How about this? Hoss long to die in cold. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it's been
Why
everywhere
does that sound so familiar?
because you've put it out in social media.
Well, I haven't put anything out in social media because I don't personally have social media.
I'm sorry, Turtle Boy did.
So if the world happens to know it,
Mhm.
that's not on me, is it?
I guess not.
I guess not. Hoss long to die in cold is what you put in to the Google search, right?
If you say so.
Is there a reason that you don't want to admit to that?
Absolutely not.
It's a simple question, right?
No reason.
So say it. What Google search did you use?
Objection.
Sustained.
You were seeking at some point to Google how long to die in the cold, correct?
Smiling.
Correct.
And you made a mistake and mistakenly typed Hoss long to die in cold, correct?
You could show me it. I'd appreciate it.
You later Google searched. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
While she looks at that, Mr. Jackson, can we bring our clerk back upstairs?
Of course, yes. I think we're.
Thank you very much. Can you text Jimmy and tell him?
Unbelievable.
Take a look at that report and tell me if that's refreshing your recollection.
Now she's like, how am I going to explain this? What am I going to do here? How am I going to get out of this? That's what she's doing. How can I explain this? And she's reciting in her head the rehearsed testimony. All right, when he asked me this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to go in this direction. I'm going to keep saying his client told me to do this. You watch. That's what's going on in her head.
Yes, it does.
Does that appear to be an accurate page from a Celebrite extraction from your phone?
It does.
Okay. May I have that back? Sorry, may I approach?
Yes.
May I have that back for a second?
Yes.
Oh, excuse me.
Did you see this? The actual search phrase? Does
Yes.
that now refresh your recollection?
Yes.
But I'd like to have this marked as next in order. Exhibit, please.
Is there an objection, Mr. Lally?
No, Your Honor.
Jeez.
Jim?
Help him out.
Yeah. May I?
Yes.
Why is she smiling?
Is that Madam Court Reporter? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Move to publish this, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes. Does this appear to be the document that was just marked as Exhibit 99?
Yes.
I know it's a little bit small, Mr. Spacey. You see this column,
Yes,
third column from the, actually it's the fourth column from the left, some dates, some data, and then a Google search, correct?
correct.
What does that Google search say?
House long to die in cold.
Now, you indicate that you did that, you made that search at 6:23 a.m., correct?
Correct.
And then you indicated that you did it again thereafter at 6:24, correct?
Correct.
At 6:24, you misspelled the phrase and you spelled it as follows: how long TI die in CIKD, correct?
Correct.
Now you claim that those two searches were at 6:23 and 6:24 a.m.
Karen didn't
respectively,
ask them
correct?
to do that.
Objection.
That's Jen's fantasy in her head. That's to deflect and say that Karen was telling her to do that. No, that was Jen. That was 227 is Jen.
Phrase it differently.
Sure. You've indicated under direct examination that these two searches were at 6:23 and 6:24 a.m., right?
I don't know if I gave exact times, but I said it was in the morning and Karen had asked me to do it.
And you, exactly, you claimed that you searched it because Karen was screaming at you and yelling at you, Googled hypothermia, and you Googled how long does it take for a person to die? I'm sorry, she said something like, how long does it take for a person to die of hypothermia?
It never
You
happened.
Google searched it at 6:23 and 6:24. Is that right?
Again, I'm not sure about the exact times. I just did it after Karen asked me to do it.
Would you quarrel with the idea that those were about 30 seconds apart?
Okay.
And you're aware, Ms. McCabe, that both spellings, both misspellings of that phrase result in the exact same search results, don't they?
I'm not aware of that. No.
Well, you Googled them, ma'am. You're looking on your phone and you Googled
Here we go. Here's the
hospital
moment.
to die in cold.
Just like the Kevin Spacey trial. There it is. Well, you Googled it. Well, you wrote it.
And how long to die in CIKD. Both of those. You Googled them, right?
I did. Yes.
And they result in the exact same search results, don't they?
I have no idea.
So my question to you is, why the two searches?
She was standing next to me screaming, shaking my hand. My hand was cold. I was trying to Google it. Obviously, maybe whatever came up first didn't make sense because I had some misspellings. So I did it again.
So Hoslong to die in cold results in articles concerning dying of exposure, doesn't it?
We never got the chance to read it.
Well, you're the one, when you say we, who's we?
Karen and myself.
Well, you're the one holding the phone, Ms. McCabe.
Correct.
So you're looking down at your phone and you see exactly what comes up, correct?
I don't remember exactly what came up.
Well, what came up was something about dying of hypothermia, didn't it?
That's what she asked.
So why do it again? Why do it again, Ms. McCabe? You have the result. Why the second search?
I cannot answer that beyond telling you that my hands were frozen. She was shaking me and screaming at me.
And you see the time, let me scroll up, please. According to that, the Celebrate data, you see this first search that says Hoslong to die in cold?
I do.
Yep.
What's that time?
You've got the, it's right over at 2:27
AM or PM?
a.m.
Ms. McCabe, you made that search at 2:27 a.m. because you knew that John O'Keefe was outside in your sister's lawn dying in the cold, didn't you?
Absolutely not. I did not make that search at that time.
Oh my
No.
God.
Realized the next morning,
It's so
after John was
infuriating.
discovered, after 6 a.m., that you had an incriminating search on your phone, didn't you?
Absolutely not.
To cover your tracks,
Literally
you
lying in
searched
the
it
room.
again in order to overwrite the original search at 2:27, correct?
Again, absolutely not.
But you were nervous and you screwed it up. So the first search you made at 6:23 was Huss Long to die in CIKD, wasn't it?
No.
When you see the search, right there.
It's like black and white
Correct.
data, man.
I see the search, but I disagree with your narrative.
And what's the time frame of that search?
6:23.
And you agree that that time frame is accurate, right?
Again, it's what the report says.
And that comports with your memory of that morning, about 6:23 in the morning in 51 seconds.
Correct.
There's a second search, correct?
Correct.
And this one, at 6:24, says Huss Long to die in cold. 6:24:16, correct?
Correct.
I'm sorry, 18. I was up that great. And that comports with your memory as well.
I remember Googling it at the request of the
God.
defendant. Yes.
About 27 seconds apart, correct?
Yes.
But the reality is, your first search didn't comport with the 2:27 a.m. search, did it? It was a different spelling, wasn't it?
I never searched a 227. That is not reality.
But the 6:24 search did exactly mirror the search that, according to this report, took place at 2:27, correct?
I'm sure Celebrate will be able to explain it to you. I can't.
And then of those three searches, one of them ended up deleted. Isn't that right?
I never deleted any search.
It literally says deleted. This
Take
is
a
so
look.
infuriating.
At the Celebrate report, top search, and the column marked deleted. What do you see?
Literally says deleted.
I see a yes.
Let me take this down. Ms. McCabe, the reason you deleted that 2:27 a.m. call is because you realized that if you were caught Googling how long it takes for a person to die in the cold 3.5 hours before John's body was found, that would incriminate you, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Objection.
The objection sustained.
Did you delete that search because you knew that you would be implicated in John O'Keefe's death if that search was found on your phone?
Objection.
Paula, could you answer that, please?
I did not delete that search. I
God.
never made that search at 2:23. I never would have left John O'Keefe out in the cold to die because he was my
What?
friend that I loved.
But he's not your family, is he?
Okay, so friend that you loved, so you make the 911 call. You don't say officer down. You don't say my friend, Officer John O'Keefe down. You don't say Boston police officer down. You don't say my friend. You just say a man is down in the snow. That's what you say. That was the friend that you loved. Okay, makes a lot of sense.
Family and friends.
Is not
Objection.
your-
Sustained.
You acknowledge that you made the search at 6:23, don't you?
In the morning I did, yes.
Acknowledge that you made the search at 6:24.
Multiple times in the morning, yes.
Of the three searches that show up that were all found on your phone, the one that you disavow is the one that took place at 2:27 a.m., which would implicate you and exonerate my client, correct?
Objection.
Sustained. Can I ask it differently, Mr. Jackson?
You're blinking.
Of those three searches, there was only one marked deleted. Isn't that right?
Correct.
That was the one at 2:27 a.m., correct?
I wouldn't even know how to go in and delete a
That's not what I
search.
asked you. The one according to the Celebrate report that was deleted, the one at 2:27 a.m., correct?
Correct.
You'd agree that that's awfully convenient for you, isn't it?
Objection.
Sustained.
Now, with reference,
real quick, I don't know if you all know this. So Netflix has made an announcement today that they are going to have a 3-part documentary on the death of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. That has been reported. It's been floating around. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. There is another documentary that is coming out. Obviously, if you've been out of the courthouse, that is with a different production team that they are shooting. So there'll be kind of 2 documentaries coming out. What I'm probably guessing is that Netflix caught wind that there was another production team down there and they're trying to be first. But you're not going to, I haven't seen, I mean, there's been one crew down there that I know of. I haven't seen anything with Netflix being down there. I mean, I know the crew that's down there. I know the production company that's down there that's shooting at the courthouse, but I think that Netflix is just trying to be first in all of this. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think the Netflix one is going to suck because I don't know anybody that's been down there recording any footage for them. And they're probably just going to use a lot of trial footage. And I know that the other production company there that has been shooting for weeks. And I'm guarantee you that's going to be the bomb ass one that's going to come out. All right, let's finish this up and we'll roll on out of here on this Friday night. Couple more minutes here.
You get home from Fairview around 2 a.m. or somewhere in that time frame. You go up to bed and you do some searches on your phone, correct?
Correct.
And so there's a Safari tab or application on your phone. That's where you access Google.
Yes.
Is that typically where you would access Google?
Yes.
And you were looking at Ozone basketball. You're also looking at Hockamock. Is that right?
Objection. Sustained.
What, if anything else, were you looking at beyond the Ozone basketball you talked about?
We had an exciting game earlier in the night against a local town that has a very good basketball program. So I went on Hockamock Sports to look at the recap, and typically I'll do that to see how other teams did, etc.
And around that same time, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, within when you did that, as far as looking things up on Google, were you opening up new tabs within Safari as you were looking at different websites or different topics?
No.
And when you went to bed or you went to sleep that evening, at some point you turned off your phone, right?
Correct.
And did you X out that box, that Safari tab that you were doing those searches with regard to Ozone and Hockamock?
No, I used to always leave my tabs open and my kids would yell at me.
As far as having multiple tabs open, is that correct?
Drains my battery, etc. Yes.
So then flash forward to sometime after 6 a.m., you're on the side of the road and the defendant asks you to conduct or look up something with regard to hypothermia or how long to die in Google, correct?
Correct.
So when you open that up and you go into Google, did you open up a new tab or did you just sort of go into what you had already open in the Safari tab?
I went to what I already had opened.
And that's where you performed the search, is that right?
Excuse me?
That's where you performed the search that you were just being asked about?
Yes.
And you never made any search like that at 2:27 in the morning, correct?
I did not know.
Now, again, you've been shown what's been called a Cellbrite extraction report, correct?
Yes.
Are you familiar with how many Cellbrite extraction reports were conducted in reference to your phone?
I think a couple. I'm actually not sure.
Funny that when Jen McCabe was getting asked about Cellbrite extractions from Alan Jackson, she said, "Oh, I don't really know anything about it." But then Lally asked her, "You know about Cellbrite extractions, correct?" And she's like, "Yeah." All right, a couple more minutes here and we're going to finish this one up.
And prior to January 29th, 2022, had you ever seen
Debbie,
Cellbrite
thank you so much
extraction
for the
report?
$20 on
No.
PayPal.
As you sit here today, do you even really know what that is?
Not really, no.
Do you know what a wall file is?
No.
Do you know what an SQLite database is?
No.
Do you know what a knowledge profile C database is?
No.
Do you know how information is stored and kept within your cell phone?
No.
That's it. All right. Well, I thought that was a really great short stream to highlight some of the career of Alan Jackson. We got to watch how he was prosecutor and came into being a defense attorney, and just watched how much he grew through his career. And I thought that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So listen, thank you all for being here on this Friday night. I appreciate it. We're going to end this stream. And if you're not watching this live, obviously you can catch it on replay. Make sure to comment down below. Let me know how you like these last two streams, the Yannetti and Jackson. I just wanted to point out and do some highlights of their careers. I hope they played off really well for all of you. As far as my schedule, Sunday night, I will do the Looking Back series again when I do the last pre-trial hearing leading up to Karen's case. We're going to go through that. And then Monday afternoon, I will be back out at the courthouse for the pretrial hearing. I'm going to try to stream as much as I can. Anything that I don't get streaming, obviously, I'll capture on video. Look forward to on Collier Landry's YouTube page, YouTube channel. I just said page. The episode that him and I recorded is supposed to drop Saturday. I haven't heard anything yet, which would be tomorrow. I haven't heard anything yet. But I'm sure that when he gets ready to drop that, he'll let me know, and then you all can check that out. So thank you all for being here. If you're new on the channel, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. Let's hit the thumbs up button on my way out. I'm going to head out of here. Everybody have an amazing Friday night. Wow, it's still super early. Everybody have an amazing Friday night, and I'll see everybody soon. Thanks for being here. I'm going to take tomorrow night off, but I'll be back on Sunday night and Monday. Take care, everybody. Bye.